Okay, later when we get to the crop circle concerning the cube, I'm going to show the further connections that the geometry has with the Great Seal and the hexagon, how they are going to even manifest themselves into the six-sided cube. Keep in mind the hexagon six-side, the Great Seal is six-side, and then we have the cube itself, once it's been three-dimensionalized, is also six-side. You'll see that that geometry between the tetrahedron completely forms and makes all three of these symbols perfectly, even down to the crystal in which these beings by their spirit are being contained in. And then you're asking, why do these beings need to be contained in crystal? Well, it's easy. Crystal contains or stores information, and that's what it is basically most valuable for, and we know of it in its relationship to computer microchips and so forth. So if you see spirit energy not only as energy but as an informational construct, sort of like a blueprint, and then you got to imagine that each one of these spirits has an individual personality. Each one of those individual personalities is as unique as a snowflake. So in order to incorporate or contain within a design matrix all of these entities of spirit identities, we have to keep them in order. Well, that's where the crystal comes in form. The crystal is the created medium that contains their spirit identities in some sort of structure, which means these spirits aren't just going to be aimlessly floating around in the supposed etheric dimension. You get me? So if the spirits themselves in the material form begin to have to become manifested within a vessel, well, we find out that the spirits themselves on a material world have to be contained within a vessel once they've been relieved of their material presence, as we see connected to the fallen sons of God, as the book of Enoch describes, that once they died, their spirits, terrestrial spirits, are being bound, and I'm showing you the terrestrial energy model of which is binding them on this world as it's connected to the sixth seal. I hope all of that made sense. So now what I want to do is I want to move forward to this first crop circle that we see reported on June 25th. I'm highly familiar with the astronomical interpretation of this circle, and this astronomical interpretation is absolutely valid, but there's always hyper-layered meanings of spiritual understanding or interpretation. So if we're talking about a fractal or an original informational pattern, we can show this fractal pattern from micro to macro, and that's a lot about what this video series is about. You're going to see that these things begin to manifest themselves on all levels, just like you saw the tetrahedron begins to take the very same shape of the material crystal, of which now we just talked about. So now back to this shape here. Astronomically, let's go ahead and give an overview for what we're seeing here. And this crop circle was reported on June 25th. The spiral crop circle in Fabrico, Italy, shows a triple alignment of the Pleiades, Jupiter, and Venus on Mayan calendar date equal to our modern date of June 23rd, 2012. This alignment is not with the galactic center, but instead the galactic anti-center, meaning the exact opposite direction of the galactic center. So first and foremost, we have a connection here with this particular crop circle as being somehow connected to an alignment with the anti-galactic center. Now I'm beginning to tell you that this is a symbolic representation of the manifestation of this spirit identity of the fallen prince into the material world. Well, if the fallen prince is termed the Antichrist, and as you've heard me say before, that the Father of all is at the center of all things, he's the first source and center of all creation. And now we begin to see this Antichrist begin to align himself not with the galactic center in this perspective, but with the anti-galactic center. Now that itself right there should make just a very blatant connection with this symbology here. Now once again, this circle has more circles that are connected to it that run all the way around. Basically, we're going to see 63 independent spheres, meaning that this is one, this is two, and that this swirl is going to have 61 other spheres that begin to make up its shape of this spiral here. Astronomically, they have a connection, but they also have the connection to the rising Kundalini spirit. I'll be back and talk about it.